We're going to talk safeties right now. And look, we can show the graphic of who we have number one through five, and there's no real drama here. Caleb Downs is the dude that's going to be the first safety off the board. The question is whether he's going to be a top five pick, B-Mac. I'll let you speak about Caleb a little bit here. And I'm interested in your comp because my comp is one of the best things I've accomplished in my time is in covering the draft here for CBS Sports.
Okay. Can't wait to hear your comp. My notes on Caleb Downs is simple. He's the quarterback of the defense. I've seen this guy communicate to guys in the third level, second level, even the first level in terms of edge defenders and getting them lined up and getting them to move to have the correct movement in the defensive front. He's the best two-way safety in the game. And what I mean when I say that, fellas, is that he's great in run support. He's great in coverage. He understands where he needs to be. He understands spacing, and he also understands angles. He doesn't mind getting in a bar fight, meaning he's confrontational. He's not hesitant in terms of run support. He commits at any given time. The last thing my note on him is that Caleb, he's like public transportation. He is always where he's supposed to be. You can book it wherever he's supposed to be. He is going to be there. So he's very, very reliable. And my pro comp for Caleb Downs is Brian Branch.
Okay. Oh, Ray, give him the grade so I can feel good about myself.
I don't love that one. I don't love that.
Be honest. Don't do it because he's a nice kid in class. He brought you an apple.
No. I don't love that one because I think their games are different, right? Because I think Brian Branch has more of that nickel feel. He fits more of that nickel safety, whereas I think this kid is a true safety. I think because he does everything so well that people underestimate the impact that he has on the game. I think he takes a lot of things away, and I'm not gonna go long because I'm probably biased because I love the kid. I love the way he plays the game, and I love his approach. But I don't love the Brian Branch comp. I want to hear Ryan's comp.
No, he gave you an incomplete, B-Mac. He didn't want to give you a grade on that one. All right, B-Mac, this one, I'm a little nervous because I'm talking to you about this. And
I know where you're going. I'm more in line with
you. Know where I'm going. So Rand brought this up in front of Caleb last week at Indy, and Caleb's DC, Matt Patricia, had mentioned this in a podcast a few weeks ago as well. All right, B-Mac, give it to me straight. I see a little bit of Troy Polamalu in his game.
No.
You couldn't win that one anyway, Ryan. Nobody's ever going to beat Troy. So just moving right along.
The reason why I say no is just the explosive ability that Troy had, and he just goes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think with Caleb, he plays more within the system. Troy had that range to be able to showcase his greatness and doing things that wasn't necessarily in the playbook. You know what I mean? So, and not saying he can't have that type of career, but just in terms of the style of play. But body-wise, they kind of had the same body. No question. Measurables, Troy was around 5'10", 5'11". I think Caleb measured in around 5'11", 6 foot or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. 200-plus guys.
Nope.
Extremely athletic, by the way. And, Troy ran 4.3 when he came out. That's
right. And the pro day for Ohio State is March 25th. 5'11" and 5'8", 206 pounds for Caleb. And we'll see. This is my follow-up is always, B-Mac. If you get 65% of Troy Polamalu out of Caleb Downs, he's a top 10 pick.
Oh, you're good.
But we'll have to wait. There we go. See, we got 65. We got the 65 Rand. All right, next up, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren out of Toledo. This is Rand's dude. He talked with him prior to the combine. We had him on to the combine. 6'3 and a half, 201 pounds, ran a 4.52, and that's plenty fast for me, given the position he plays, 35 and a half inch vertical. I love this young man's game, B-Mac. What did you think about McNeil-Warren?
I love my notes on Emmanuel. He's 6'3", but he's in a 5'11" body. And what I mean when I say that, he moves like a smaller defensive back. Usually taller guys, they have issues staying low, playing with good pad level. Emmanuel does not have that issue. He had 5.5 tackle for losses, so he plays on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage, which I love. 11 career forced fumbles. So he's a ball searcher as well. He loves taking the football away. Very, very explosive. His start-stop is super impressive. And what I mean when I say start-stop, oftentimes when you watch him on tape in games, he's standing flat-footed and then 0 to 60. Just like that. No wasted steps. He's very, very violent. He's space aware as well. In spacing, in terms of zone concepts, he understands where his help is or is not there. And he's able to make plays. Oftentimes I saw it was a flood concept. I think it was against Western Kentucky. They ran a flood concept to the boundary side of the football field. He was outnumbered, meaning he was outflanked. Being able to zone turn and came up with a huge interception was great. He has great eyes in zone. My pro comp for Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, he's a smaller Emmanuel, in my opinion. Smaller. Same height in terms of length, but clearly he's not the bigger body that Nick Emmanuel is. But some of the same things that I fell in love with Nick Emmanuel a year ago, I'm falling in love with Emmanuel McNeil-Warren as well. That's why I have him my number 2 safety.
Yeah, I like that comp. I like that comp. And I'll just add, to me, he is a bigger, more physical Kalen Bullock that plays down in Houston out of USC a couple years ago, because I think he has those same ball skills just in terms of playing red line to red line, being able to anticipate and play over the top. But like B-Mac said, this guy, he can rock and roll. And rock and roll safety is you don't have to declare him as the free. You don't have to declare him as the strong. You could just do it based off of the strength of the formation or wherever the motion takes you, because he can enter the box. He's not afraid to mix it up and put his face in the fan. But then you can also drop him in the post and he can make plays. Like B-Mac said, those forced fumbles, he is probably the best, I'm going to use B-Mac's term, he is the best ball searcher probably in the secondary in terms of the safeties out of this entire group, just because he can go get the interception and then you watch him arrive on the tackle with that peanut punch to force the ball out. So I love this kid and I love his makeup. This kid will be successful in the National Football League.
Yeah, just sort of circling back to what you both said, looking through my notes here. Versatility in terms of where he can play. You just talked about that, Rand. His tackling ability coming downhill, sideline to sideline range. And he is a high point machine. It's being 6'3.5" certainly doesn't hurt that. All right, the real question here, B-Mac, is he a first-round pick?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Rand?
Yes.
No, I agree he should be. Now we'll see, because there's been all this talk about value at this safety position. And I think that's probably more so a Caleb Downs question or comment, just based off of how high he's being projected. But if you're sitting there, if you're a team, let's say if you're New England and you're sitting there at 32 and this kid is on the board, like, why not? Like, take him off the board and put him in the post in your defense. That'll be a great addition. But on that back half, I mean, I think he should go between, let's call it that 22, let's say 25 to 32. He belongs in that range.
I love the idea of him in New England. They have needs, obviously, at edge rusher, but they have needs in the secondary. Jalen Hawkins is going to be a free agent in a few minutes here, if he's not already, and I think that makes a ton of sense. Producer Sharon, before we take a quick break, I'll just note my comp for Emmanuel, E-Man as he goes, Kalen Bullock and Nick Emmanuel. So I get an A+. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back here, we're going to talk about our guy, Dillon Thieneman. And Rand has a pretty interesting perspective that I want to get to. We'll do that right after this. All right, let's keep the safety conversation going here. Dillon Thieneman transferred from Purdue after the 24th season, went to Oregon last year, had a really great campaign for the Ducks. He is number 3 on our consensus with the first pick big board here. Just a shade over 6 feet, 201 pounds at the combine. B-Mac ran a 4.3.5 and a 41-inch vertical. March 17th is their pro day, and I would encourage Dillon to do exactly nothing. I call him Dillon Thieneman. I would encourage him to do exactly nothing at his pro day. All right, B-Mac. Tell me what you liked about Dillon, because I thought the more you watched, the more you liked the way he was playing his game once he got to Oregon.
I agree with you, Ryan. Watching him at Oregon, he really developed in a real good way in terms of, play recognition and just being physical at the point of attack. My notes on Dillon is he will fill an alley and run support with no hesitation. When he sees the football in that alley, there's no hesitation. There will be a car collision in that gap, and he doesn't mind getting into those said situations. Great route recognition, pre-snap alignment as well, a la Penn State game, that game-winning interception he came down with. Just recognizing the route concept pre-snap allowed him to be in position to come up with that huge interception. And oftentimes they didn't utilize him a lot in the post, but my notes, when I watched him in the post, he's the Mike Trout in the center field. His ability to go sideline to sideline, showcasing that 4.3 speed, was really put on display anytime he was a center fielder in the secondary for the Oregon Ducks. 21 tackles in postseason play. In 3 games in playoff football for Oregon, he had 21 tackles. So he was playing some of his best football in the more critical moments. And he plays 4.3 on the football field. He's not a guy who just happened to run 4.3 there in Indy. When you watch him play, like you said, Ryan, you go back and watch more and more in Dillon, you start to see that 4.3 surface in game moments.
Yeah, I say for me, I didn't necessarily thought he played 4.3. I thought he would run well. And I would say run well for a safety, because we just talked about with Emmanuel, 4.51, 4.52, whatever he ran is plenty fast for the safety position. But I didn't see 4.3. Damn proud of him that he ran 4.3, because I like the way he plays, and I like the kid and his preparation, and he's a true pro. I definitely have I had more of an appreciation for him at Oregon than I did at Purdue. And I think he made the right move in terms of going to a program that was going to showcase his entire skill set as opposed to what he was being asked to do at Purdue. And one thing I asked the guys before we came on was, based off of their rankings and how they see it, did the combine boost him up more than where they initially had him? And I think that's what's going to help some teams really push him over the edge, was his combine performance, because I think that probably answered a lot of questions that teams may have had.
Yeah, I thought if he had run a 4.7, I think they would have hurt him more than running a 4.35 helped him. He's still the same player we saw in the fall. How many people are 4.3 guys other than maybe Tyreek Hill? That's a small list. So I understand what you're saying there. I thought, like BMAC said, I loved him coming downhill and destroying running backs in the run game, and he's not afraid to fill gaps. I did wonder at times if he was a little out of control coming downhill, but as BMAC, as you like to say, you'd rather say well than sick him. 2 things, BMAC, you got a comp, and is he a first round?
Oh, yeah. I forgot a comp. He's a faster Eric Weddle. Faster Eric Weddle. And will he be a first rounder? I don't think so. I don't think he will be a first rounder. I think the ideal spot for him would be, in the late 30s, early 40s, depending on the value at his position and what is needed for those said teams that are picking there. But I only visualize, Rand, 2 ideal safeties going in the first round, Caleb and Emmanuel McNeil-Warren.
Yeah, I could agree with that. And Ryan, I want to hear your comp for him.
Let's see. I don't have my notes in front of me, so let's go. Who did I say? Oh, yeah, I remember now. Oh, okay. Let's get crazy again, BMAC. I forgot for a moment. This young man was just traded today as we're recording this. He is best case because of the versatility and athleticism we saw in the combine. Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Oh, now hold on now, Ryan. Now, you remember when Minkah was at Alabama and what he was doing and how he was taking the football away in the game.
That's what Rand said.
Listen, BMAC, I gave Brian, I call you Brian. I'm mixing both of y'all names up. I gave Ryan credit because he went cross-racial comp. I gave him more credit for that than the actual gameplay. But I'm with you. What Minkah did at Alabama and coming out, that was special.
Special.
Okay, all right. Let's keep this thing going. Producer Sharon says we got to keep going. Y'all spending too much time on my Minkah comp. That's an A+ in case you're asking. Number 4 on our list, AJ Haulcy out of LSU, 5'11 and a half, 215. Ran a 4.52 at the combine. Their March 23rd pro day is coming up. All those things check out for me. And then number 5 on our list was Keionte Scott out of the U. And this dude had a good first half of the season. He had a lights out second half of the season. 5'11 and change, 193. Has not run yet. We'll be at that March 23rd pro day, Lord willing. So BMAC, give me a little bit on each of these guys and how you see them.
Okay. AJ earned a lot of money. That 4.52 was great for him. He's a bigger body safety, a lot of reps, over 2,800 snaps in his career, 10 career picks, has great ball skills. We talked about Emmanuel McNeil-Warren probably being the best Wilson searcher, punching that football out. But in terms of the safety element, AJ has the best ball skills out of any safety that will be drafted, in my opinion. And if you want to look at his ball skills and how prolific they are, go back and watch the gauntlet drill he did there at Indy. It was perfect. It was probably the best gauntlet drill that we saw from any defensive back or wide receiver that entire combine weekend with what AJ did. I said he has vacuum hands. Anytime the ball gets close to his hands, he's getting it. He doesn't miss any opportunities to create turnovers. Good eye discipline and zone coverage. He's a quick trigger at the point of attack. I would love to see him wrap up in his tackling. Oftentimes he throws his body in there more than not, but I would love to see him wrap up. And my pro comp for him, when I watch his style of play and based on how he attacks the football in the same measurables, I went with Kevin Byard. I mean, guy who led the NFL, if I'm not mistaken, this past season with 7 interceptions. Remember, Kevin Byard was a day 3 guy that has really parlayed that day 3 selection to a really, really good career. I see AJ potentially being a day 3 guy as well, but probably having that same impact with how well he catches the football and create turnovers.
Hey, Ryan, quickly, let me get your reaction to that comp, and then give me 30 seconds on Keionte Scott, and we'll let B-Mac finish up there.
No, I think it's a solid. I think it's a solid pick. I give it a B, just in terms because I see AJ Haulcy being more strong safety than actual playing the post, and Kevin is a straight free safety that makes his money playing the middle of the field. My comp for AJ Haulcy was Cam Curl. Was who I had was who I had for him. A bigger guy that's explosive on contact, but does have ball skills and can create turnovers. Now you talk about Keionte Scott, and I'm pulling up my notes on him here. Like he was a great watch for me. My comp for him and a lot of his game reminded me of Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. In the way that he was used. I think Chauncey could play a little bit more in the post, and you can get by a little bit more with him on the back end. And I still want to go back and watch some Auburn tape on Keionte to see him play more at the safety position. But a lot like the other guys that we're going to talk about, he's a nickel safety. And this is what's becoming the new way of the National Football League, a tweener that has corner size but doesn't have corner movement skills, but necessarily probably doesn't also have the range to play on the back end. I love his toughness in terms of his urgent disposition to kind of fit and feel in the run game, being that nickel, being that C-gap defender, but then also having an understanding in coverage. Now, I think he will have his issues against high-end slot receivers, just in terms of the lateral separation, giving up that, but I think he matches up well, even though he's smaller against tight ends, and that's why I comped him to Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, that nickel safety, that this is what the game is becoming. All these really good defenses that we have now in this league, the Baltimores, the Seattles, all of them have that nickel safety in their defense.
Hey, B-Mac, give me a quick comp for Keionte.
I went Jalen Petrie from Houston. The versatility. League as a safety. Now he plays that nickel spot rather nicely for the Houston Texans. Great in tackling, great in coverage. He's become a better covering guy than what we visualized with him coming out of Baylor, if I'm not mistaken, some years ago. But the versatility is similar to what Keionte also has in his arsenal.